With their powerful leaps, kangaroos have long been recognized as the official national animal of Australia, a symbol of forward momentum and the untamed spirit of the continent. But did you know that over 1.5 million kangaroos are processed each year? Across the sun-scorched grasslands where wind and heat sharpen their strength and instincts, kangaroos grow up wild and free. Yet when the population explodes beyond control, human intervention becomes inevitable. And that's when their final leaps take them off the plains and into industrial processing lines, where this iconic creature is transformed into meat and leather products worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Join Agriculture Insight now as we explore how kangaroos have become a wild resource powering a global supply chain. Many people think kangaroos are cute and gentle animals until they see a tall, muscular one boxing with a human or locking a hunting dog in a headlock on the grasslands. In reality, kangaroos are quite combative and have a strong territorial instinct, especially during mating season. A fully grown male can reach up to 2 meters in height, weigh over 90 kilograms, with bulging muscles and kicks exceeding 850 psi, strong enough to break a grown man's bones. Kangaroos may be one of the most unique animals in the world, as few species are both national symbols and legally hunted and processed right on the land they represent. But there's a reason for that. With a population of nearly 50 million, twice the number of people in Australia, they are growing out of control. Traveling in herds, feeding heavily, and being active at night, kangaroos compete with livestock for food, break fences, trample crops, and cause damage amounting to billions of dollars. That's why, to control the population and reduce losses, around 1.5 to 2 million kangaroos are hunted annually under government plans. And among them, two of the most valuable things humans extract from kangaroos are: first, the red meat, famous for its rich flavor, natural leanness, and iron and protein content 2 to 3 times higher than beef. Second, the skin, which is highly prized in the luxury fashion industry by renowned brands like Gucci, Prada, and Louis Vuitton. But before becoming a resource for the meat and leather industries, the journey of every kangaroo begins with the most primal instinct: reproduction. Unlike many mammals, kangaroos do not have a fixed breeding season and can mate and give birth year-round. However, their reproductive cycle is heavily influenced by environmental conditions, particularly water and food availability. After heavy rains, when the grasslands turn green again, mating and birthing rates often surge. During mating season, males become even more combative and are always ready to engage in real boxing matches, standing upright on their hind legs, punching with their front limbs, then using their tail as a pivot to launch powerful double kicks with their hind legs. Each match can last several minutes, with blows strong enough to knock down an opponent. The goal of this process is not just to win the right to mate, but also to establish hierarchy and dominance within the group. Only the victor gets access to the females, while the defeated can only watch from the sidelines. Another unique aspect of kangaroo reproduction is that the mother carries her baby for only about 30 to 36 days. At birth, the joey is incredibly small, just 2 to 2.5 centimeters long, weighing less than 1 gram, and resembling a blind little bean. Many people mistakenly believe that kangaroos give birth inside the pouch, but in fact, the joey is born through the birth canal, like in other mammals. However, thanks to an extraordinary survival instinct, it can crawl on its own up to the mother's belly and into the front pouch, a warm, safe shelter where it continues to grow for several more months. The joey remains in the mother's pouch for 6 to 8 months, a perfect nursery for its development. Even as it becomes fairly large, the mother patiently cares for it with dedication. Only when the young kangaroo becomes strong enough to stand and hop on its own does it begin to leave the safety of the pouch and embark on its journey to explore the outside world, just like a child taking its first steps. Importantly, the decision to leave the pouch is not forced by the mother, but is a natural process that follows the joey's own development. Have you ever seen a baby kangaroo poking its head out from its mother's pouch? But this journey of exploration lasts 18 to 24 months, nearly a third of their natural lifespan, until the joey reaches its ideal size, ready to be used for commercial purposes, from meat harvesting to leather production. To deal with kangaroos is no simple task. Their sharp senses, incredible speed, and unpredictable movements make hunting them one of the most challenging pursuits in the wilds of Australia. The first key to a successful hunt is location. In wild regions with high kangaroo density, licensed hunters in Australia use satellite maps to track the movement routes of kangaroo herds. Next, the golden time for hunting kangaroos is at night. As the daytime heat fades and darkness falls, kangaroos become more active. They leave their shelters to forage, move around more, and become less cautious, making them perfect targets for sudden, unannounced hunts. Unlike controlling wild boars in the United States, using bait traps is ineffective for kangaroos, as they are not easily attracted by food, and such methods can cause inhumane injuries, which are strictly prohibited under Australian government regulations. Instead, hunters use high-powered spotlights and scoped rifles to identify and target kangaroos from a distance, often shooting accurately from up to 150 to 200 meters away. And just like that, 30 to 70 kangaroos are harvested in a single night by each professional hunter, and around 2 million kangaroos disappear from the Australian landscape every year. The hunt is not only a reward for patience, precision, and a deep understanding of animal behavior, but also a legal and scientific method of population control, helping to maintain ecological balance and reduce conflict with humans. The kangaroos are then gathered using large trucks, preparing them for transport and the next stage of the processing chain. Kangaroo meat is pre-processed on-site to ensure maximum freshness. And here's something you might easily notice. The kangaroo's tail is never left intact. Because the tail serves as a quantifiable proof, each one corresponds to a hunted individual. Hunters are required to cut and submit the tail as a mandatory part of their harvest report, under strict government regulations designed to protect the long-term sustainability of wild kangaroo populations. One detail you might have overlooked is that some mother kangaroos may be accidentally hunted while they are still pregnant or nursing their young. That's why compassionate individuals and animal welfare groups, such as WIRES, Australia's largest wildlife rescue organization, step in to rescue and raise these orphan joeys with care and dedication. Despite rescue efforts, only about 10 to 20% of orphan joeys are found and survive after their mothers are hunted. This also raises questions about the balance between ethics and the exploitation of wild resources. Specialized trucks quickly transport the kangaroo meat to the processing facility. At the receiving area, each kangaroo carcass is hung onto an automated conveyor system, moving them through a series of inspection stations. Workers in protective gear and sanitary gloves perform a preliminary check on each carcass, closely examining the surface to detect any abnormalities or signs of substandard quality. Inside the factory, each kangaroo carcass is hung upside down and moved to the skinning station. Here, workers use specialized knives to separate the skin from the meat with precision and decisiveness. The skinned kangaroo meat remains hanging on hooks and continues along the automated line to the internal inspection area. This stage serves as an intermediate filtering step before the meat is cut and sorted in detail. At this point, workers perform a basic assessment of the meat based on color, texture, and smell to determine its freshness and initial quality. In the portioning area, kangaroo carcasses are laid out on work tables, where dozens of workers carry out cutting, cleaning, and separating various muscle groups. Using specialized knives, they carefully divide cuts such as loin, thigh, shoulder, and ribs while preserving the natural muscle structure. Each step is performed swiftly yet precisely, thanks to the workers' practice skills and the smooth coordination between stages of the production line. Once portioning is complete, each cut is given a final inspection and neatly arranged into trays according to type and size. Fresh kangaroo meat has a distinct deep red color, firm texture, and is virtually fat-free. After portioning, the meat cuts are placed into specialized plastic bags and passed through a vacuum sealing machine, which extends shelf life and prevents bacterial growth. Each package is clearly labeled with detailed information such as cut type, weight, packaging date, and traceability code. But that's only half of the economic value derived from kangaroos. Beyond the red meat, their hides are fully utilized, transformed into premium material for luxury fashion brands like Gucci, Prada, and Hermes. In the initial stage, the hides are placed into large rotating drums where they are soaked, washed, and chemically treated to remove any remaining impurities, hair, and fat. After hours of continuous tumbling, the hides become noticeably softer. At this point, they resemble giant sheets of sandpaper, but with remarkable flexibility and durability. After chemical soaking and treatment, kangaroo hides are either air-dried or gently heated to remove excess moisture before moving on to the flattening stage. Each hide is fed into a specialized hydraulic press, where pressure and temperature are precisely controlled to smooth and even out the leather surface. Workers then manually inspect each hide, checking for wrinkles, creases, or minor defects before it proceeds to the next step. After flattening and drying, the kangaroo hides are stretched over frames in preparation for the coloring process. An automated spraying system applies a layer of pigment to the leather surface according to specifications, which may include shades like brown, black, gray, or even high-end fashion colors. Each layer of pigment is carefully controlled to ensure even coverage, the right level of sheen, and optimal adhesion to the material. After dyeing and surface treatment, the kangaroo leather is passed through a heat pressing machine to enhance its gloss and ensure uniform coloration. Workers continue to carefully inspect each hide, discarding any with defects, then roll or stack them neatly in layers. At the belt manufacturing facility, the process of crafting a kangaroo leather belt begins with a thorough inspection before shaping begins. Using measuring tools and specialized knives, artisans mark and cut the leather into long strips with precise dimensions, ideal for belt production. These leather strips are then run through machines to bevel the edges, creating a smooth, angled finish that gives the belt a refined, high-end appearance. Next, the strips are pressed to shape and compress the leather layers, then stitched firmly using industrial machines to ensure straight, even seams. Once completed, each belt is stamped on the back with a logo and product details to confirm its origin and quality. The journey doesn't stop there. Kangaroo leather is also used to craft premium wallets with exquisite finishing. Skilled artisans carefully select each hide, using only those that meet strict standards for softness, thickness, and surface uniformity. After cutting and attaching any closures, the leather pieces are placed between protective sheets and flattened either by hand or with a specialized press. This step ensures the leather maintains a stable shape, eliminates natural warping, and creates a smooth surface for the next assembly steps. Once the leather components are flattened and shaped, they move on to the stitching stage, where every piece is joined to form the final shape of the wallet. At this stage, precision is critical. Even a slight misalignment can make the product unbalanced or affect how smoothly it opens and closes. That's why each high-end kangaroo leather wallet carries the mark of meticulous craftsmanship, carefully constructed down to every single stitch. After stitching is completed, the leather pieces are carefully bonded using specialized adhesive. Once glued, the artisan presses the pieces together gently by hand or with a light press to ensure complete adhesion, preventing any peeling during use. The wallet's edges and corners are also smoothed meticulously to create a sleek, refined surface. Finally comes the shaping and finishing stage. The wallet is placed into a shaping mold. Its edges are trimmed, polished, and precisely edge-painted to achieve a clean, professional appearance. The surface is then wiped clean and treated with a special oil that enhances the leather's color and gives it a soft, natural sheen. And that is how a premium kangaroo leather wallet is brought to life. Wagyu, which means Japanese cow in Japanese, is more than just a cattle breed. It's considered a culinary national treasure of the land of the rising sun. Each year, Japan exports over $500 million worth of Wagyu beef, mainly to gourmet markets like the United States, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Wagyu's global fame lies in its signature marbling, the intricate web of intramuscular fat that runs like fine veins through the meat. Wagyu's marbling can exceed 40%, far surpassing the 5 to 10% typically found in regular beef. As a result, Wagyu melts at around body temperature, 30 degrees Celsius, delivering a buttery, rich, and melt-in-your-mouth experience, with prices reaching up to $1,000 per kilogram. For the Japanese, the Wagyu brand is protected more fiercely than gold. Renowned names like Kobe, Matsusaka, Omi, and Hida aren't just regions. They are icons of heritage, governed with strict regulations, much like the prestigious Bordeaux wines of France. Today, Wagyu is also raised in countries like Australia, the US, and Canada. But only purebred Japanese Wagyu truly preserves the class and soul of what's known as the red gold of the culinary world. To produce Wagyu cattle that yield melt-in-your-mouth beef with exquisite marbling, each worth tens of thousands of dollars, everything must be precise from the very first step, breeding. Today, most Wagyu farms rely on artificial insemination to control genetics, selecting only the best traits from elite bulls with exceptional marbling scores. The cows are also carefully chosen based on health and lineage before entering the breeding cycle. Semen collected from the bull is processed, cryopreserved, and then injected into the cow's uterus. Before this, farmers manually remove feces from the rectum and clean the vulva to maintain hygiene, prevent infection, and accurately locate the insemination site. Once everything is ready, the semen is inserted using a thin tube called a catheter, reaching the cervix, where fertilization occurs. Though the procedure takes only a few minutes, it lays the foundation for a nearly 3-year journey to produce some of the most valuable Wagyu beef in the world. After fertilization, the cow remains pregnant for over 9 months before giving birth. Wagyu cows typically deliver only 1 calf per pregnancy, allowing the calf to develop fully and ensuring the highest future meat quality. When the calf is born, it is still wet and weak. The mother cow licks the calf clean to warm it up, stimulate blood circulation, and establish the initial bond between mother and offspring. But within 30 minutes to an hour, it begins trying to stand and instinctively searches for its mother's udder to drink colostrum, a vital first source of nutrition. During the first 3 months after birth, Wagyu calves receive special care to ensure strong immunity and steady growth. The most critical early stage is providing enough colostrum within the first 6 to 12 hours, which transfers essential antibodies from the mother. After that, the calf continues to nurse from the mother or is fed a specialized milk formula with added minerals and vitamins if necessary. In the first few weeks, it's vital to keep the calf warm, and the shelter must remain dry and clean to prevent diarrhea, a common illness in newborn calves. From around the second to third week, farmers gradually introduce soft hay and concentrated feed to prepare the calf for eventual weaning. When Wagyu calves reach 3 to 4 months of age, they are weaned and moved to special pens for young cattle. Calves are grouped by age, with 5 to 10 animals per group, living in spacious barns lined with thick, dry straw to retain warmth, absorb waste, and prevent slipping. Their environment is kept quiet and well ventilated, as Wagyu cattle are especially sensitive to stress and surroundings. Each morning, old straw is removed and manure is collected using shovels or specialized suction machines, then replaced with fresh, dry straw to keep the barn clean and odor-free. Outside resting hours, the cattle are let out into open yards or nearby grassy areas at fixed times for light exercise. This free movement not only improves metabolism, but also helps reduce stress, a key factor that directly affects future marbling quality. Alongside housing conditions, the secret to producing melt-in-your-mouth Wagyu beef with intricate marbling lies in its unique diet. Unlike conventional beef cattle, which are raised quickly for maximum weight using fresh grass and byproducts to cut costs, Wagyu are raised slowly on a diet rich in starch and low in fiber. This includes hay, straw, rice bran, grains, brewer's mash, and fermented soybeans. Wagyu are fed 2 to 3 times a day, with carefully balanced rations to control energy intake and fat accumulation. And have you ever seen a cow drink beer? With Wagyu, that's a real thing. Some farms in Japan give their cattle beer during the summer to stimulate appetite. While there's no definitive scientific proof, this distinctive feeding regimen is credited with helping Wagyu beef achieve its signature tenderness, exquisite marbling, and sky-high value. Beyond diet and exercise, Wagyu cattle are cared for like true VIPs. To maintain physical condition and prevent illness, their hooves are trimmed every 2 to 3 months, a seemingly minor task but essential for joint health and maintaining a strong, stable gait. Their coats are also brushed with soft brushes to remove dirt, stimulate blood circulation, and help them relax, especially during hot weather. Though these steps may sound simple, they play a crucial role in keeping Wagyu cattle calm and healthy. And a relaxed, well-cared-for body is the foundation for producing rich, tender meat that no growth-enhancing technology can replicate. After nearly 3 years of being pampered like four-legged royalty, Wagyu cattle enter their final stage, preparation for harvest. A premium-grade Wagyu must be between 28 to 32 months old, weigh at least 600 to 700 kilograms, and have the ideal marbling ratio, strong physical condition, and stable mental state. Farmers carefully guide the cattle onto specially designed transport trucks equipped with non-slip floors, roofs, and partitioned sections to ensure safety and comfort throughout the journey. As a sensitive breed, Wagyu must be transported gently, without rushing, and with minimal loud noise to avoid stress. Upon arrival at the processing facility, the cattle are guided into a designated resting area. This recovery period allows the animals to recover from transportation, stabilize their heart rate, reduce stress, and regulate blood circulation. The processing begins as the cattle are brought onto the production line, where the hide and internal organs are removed in one piece and transferred to specialized handling areas. Once these steps are completed, The remaining carcass is hung on a rack using dedicated hooks to keep the body upright and balanced. Next, the carcass is split in half along the spine, a critical step that ensures precise chilling and grading in the subsequent stages. The factory environment is kept cool and dry, with spotless, polished floors to maintain hygiene and ensure a smooth, uninterrupted workflow. After the initial processing, the carcass is moved into the chilling room, a sealed space maintained at a stable temperature between 0 to 2 degrees Celsius, with around 85% humidity, for 24 to 36 hours, allowing the muscle fibers to fully relax, moisture to distribute evenly, and internal biochemical reactions to continue slowly. Under angled inspection lights, specialists examine key indicators: fineness, density, coverage, and uniformity of the intramuscular fat, the traits that define Wagyu's aesthetic appeal and signature melt-in-your-mouth texture when cooked. Based on these results, the meat is classified into different quality grades, typically labeled with scores or letters according to each country's or plant's standards. Every graded section is tagged with traceability labels detailing origin, aging date, and classification code. In Japan, Wagyu beef is graded using a system that combines letters A or C with numbers from 1 to 5. The letter indicates the yield, how much usable meat is obtained after butchering, while the number reflects the meat quality, including color, tenderness, and especially marbling, the fine white streaks of fat running through the muscle. A5 is the highest grade, meaning the cow yields a high amount of meat with near-perfect quality. The top-rated A5 cuts, especially those from famed regions like Kobe, Matsusaka, or Hida, are brought to exclusive auctions for valuation. There, each cut is hung under angled lighting to highlight its marble-like fat patterns. Experts and distributors can assess a cut's worth with just a glance. Prices are not fixed. Depending on perfection, origin, and brand, a single cut can fetch tens of thousands of US dollars. High-end restaurants, five-star hotels, and luxury retailers fiercely compete to acquire these elite Wagyu cuts, not just for their quality, but for the prestige and status they represent. From the grading area, the carcasses are moved to the next processing zone, a quiet, focused space where concentration is held at an almost meditative level. Every movement here is steady and deliberate, as if everyone understands they are working with an ingredient that is not only valuable, but also requires the utmost respect and care. Before butchering begins, the back and belly fat, prized for their light color, softness, and elasticity, are carefully removed. These are preserved whole and sent to a specialized section for use in premium product lines or high-end culinary applications. The carcass is then laid on a cutting table and separated according to its natural muscle structure: ribeye, brisket, shank, shoulder. Each cut is handled with precision to preserve the marbling patterns nurtured over hundreds of days. Every slice is then inspected, neatly arranged in trays, or vacuum sealed on the spot. Packaging follows immediately, seamless, without delay, and with minimal exposure to outside air. A traceability label is printed and applied the same day, showing origin, processing date, and specific cut type. This entire flow blends precision machinery with skilled hands. Workers trained not just to see and touch, but to sense quality through experience. No software can replicate. This balance ensures the factory maintains consistent output while preserving the full value of each cut, just as it was when first carved. But have you ever wondered, how do you cook a piece of Wagyu beef that's as precious as red gold to truly honor its value? In reality, grilling Wagyu is surprisingly simple, and it's that very simplicity that brings out its true excellence. Each slice is left at room temperature for 15 to 20 minutes before cooking to allow the fat to soften evenly and avoid thermal shock. Then, it's placed on a cast iron pan or grill, preheated to around 200 to 220 degrees Celsius. No oil, no elaborate seasoning, just a pinch of fine salt. Each side is seared for only 30 to 45 seconds, just enough for the fat to begin melting and form a lightly crisped, aromatic crust. while the inside stays tender, juicy, and rich in flavor. A gentle flip, even sear, and a short resting period. That's all it takes to reach perfection. A bite that melts the moment it touches your tongue. With Wagyu, it's not about complexity. It's about restraint. Letting the natural richness speak for itself is the key to preserving the essence nurtured through every single day of its journey from farm to table. In the global snail race, France leads the way with an annual production of thousands of tons, contributing tens of millions of dollars to the economy. Snail meat is tender, slightly chewy, and subtly sweet, often prepared with garlic butter and herbs to become the iconic escargot, a symbol of French haute cuisine. The country's snail farming industry is thriving, with hundreds of professional farms turning this slow-moving creature into a refined element of French culture. But don't let their tiny appearance fool you. Snails are true biological gold mines. Their slime contains collagen, elastin, glycolic acid, and allantoin, valuable compounds that help regenerate skin, reduce scars, and fight aging. Thanks to these properties, snail slime is dubbed liquid gold in the world of biocosmetics, fetching prices as high as $500 to $1,000 per kilogram once refined. And like all extraordinary stories, this one has a beginning. For snails, it starts in specialized farms, where humans create the perfect slimy paradise for this liquid gold to be born from the slowest crawl on Earth. And every fascinating story has its beginning. For snails, it starts at specialized farms, where humans create the perfect slimy paradise for that golden liquid to be born from the slowest crawl on Earth. Nowadays, one of the most popular and efficient methods for snail farming is the semi-natural model, breeding indoors and growing outdoors. This approach allows for better control during the sensitive early stages, while taking advantage of natural conditions to promote faster, healthier growth and maximize cost efficiency. The very first step in the production journey may seem simple, but it is absolutely critical: the careful selection of parent snails. The chosen individuals must be healthy, evenly developed, with strong, intact shells and no deformities, to ensure the quality of the breeding stock right from the start. In nature, snails reproduce most actively at the end of spring, when the air is warm and humidity is high. However, in modern farms, it's possible to regulate temperature, lighting, and humidity to encourage year-round breeding, significantly boosting productivity. And although snails are hermaphrodites, each one possessing both male and female reproductive organs, they still require a partner for cross-fertilization. During mating season, they slowly approach each other, engaging in a courtship ritual of gentle touches and graceful spirals, a silent dance that can last for hours. The climax comes when they exchange sperm through a structure called a love dart, one of the most bizarre mating behaviors in the animal kingdom. After mating, snails lay their eggs in clusters within pre-prepared soil trays. Each snail can lay dozens to hundreds of eggs, typically choosing soft, moist, and secluded spots to ensure safety. The soil in the trays is cleaned, lightly moistened, and placed in quiet, low-light areas to create a secure environment for egg laying. Once the eggs are laid, the mother snail usually covers them with a thin layer of soil as a natural form of protection. However, in industrial farming settings, the farmer will promptly locate and gently collect each clutch of eggs, taking care not to break or disturb their structure, and place them into foam boxes lined with loose, moist soil. Although the eggs do not require maternal care, they are highly sensitive to environmental changes. Therefore, they must be handled with great care and immediately transferred to an incubation room, where temperature and humidity are consistently regulated 24/7. After about 10 to 20 days, the tiny creatures begin to break through their delicate shells and emerge into the world. They are so fragile that their shells remain transparent, and their bodies are soft and weak, as if they had just stepped out of an entirely different realm. Thousands of tiny snails crawl across the surface of the trays, marking the start of a slow yet promising journey toward maturity. If the incubation process is carried out correctly, the hatching rate can reach up to 90%, an ideal figure in modern snail farming. Immediately after hatching, the baby snails are transferred to larger trays, more spacious and well-ventilated environments, fully prepared with a nutritious food supply. This is a crucial step to create optimal conditions for uniform development across the entire brood, laying the groundwork for a healthy generation ready for the next stages of growth. Once they are strong enough, these tiny residents are released into lush vegetable fields, marking the beginning of an entirely new chapter in their development journey. To prepare for this stage, farmers use specialized tractors equipped with sharp plow blades and powerful tilling systems to break up the soil, making it loose, aerated, and moisture retentive. They then evenly sow seeds across the field with vegetables like mustard greens, leafy Chinese cabbage, or navacol, soft, sweet leaf varieties that snails particularly enjoy. After just 10 to 15 days, the fields come alive with a carpet of tender, green sprouts. An automated sprinkler system is activated regularly to keep both the soil and foliage consistently cool and moist. Between the rows of vegetables, large wooden boards are placed, not only to provide natural shade and reduce soil surface temperature, but also to serve as cool shelters for the snails later on. Once all conditions are ready, the nursery trays are gently opened, and the young snails are released onto the beds of tender greens. Fresh air, soft light, and a rich plant ecosystem now become their ideal habitat for continued growth. Each snail begins exploring this new space, slowly crawling over leaves and nibbling bit by bit. A single snail can consume dozens of leaves per day, a steady, energetic process of growth. From around day 80 onward, as the snails begin to reach maturity, their nutritional needs increase. By this time, the vegetable beds are often depleted and no longer sufficient to support optimal development. To maintain their growth rate, farmers begin adding supplemental feed, a blend of bran, cornmeal, minerals, and light nutritional additives, spread evenly between the rows so that all snails have access. By day 100 to 120, the snails have fully matured. They cling to the undersides of the wooden boards, avoiding the sun and resting. These boards have now become more than just shade. They are natural, quiet shelters for tens of thousands of snails, ready for harvest. The entire field transforms into a living biological garden, a perfect conclusion to a closed-loop farming cycle that is both natural and meticulously precise. Once the snails reach full maturity, with hardened shells and fully developed epiphragms, the harvest season officially begins. Across the lush green fields now lined with wooden shelter boards, farmers carefully remove each snail by hand, taking great care not to crack the shell or injure the delicate soft body. They move slowly, bending close to the ground, thoroughly inspecting each crevice and cluster of vegetation to ensure no snail is overlooked. With patient hands and observant eyes, each snail is gently lifted, as if harvesting living gems quietly nurtured by nature over hundreds of days. Immediately after collection, thousands of snails are brought to the cleaning area. Here, the farmers begin washing them, an essential step to remove slime, dirt, and debris from the shells. Under streams of cool water from low-pressure spray nozzles, each snail is gently rinsed, both to clean them and to help them recover from the stress of harvest. After being cleaned, the snails are placed in ventilated mesh trays or baskets to drain and are fasted for about 24 hours to purge waste from their digestive systems, an important step to ensure hygiene and the quality of the final product. Once transported from the farm, the mature snails are sorted according to their intended use. Healthy snails that meet the standard size are sent to meat processing facilities, where a strict industrial procedure is carried out to serve the high-end culinary industry. The first stage is cleaning, a critical and indispensable step. The snails, still in their shells, are placed into a high-pressure water jet washing system that thoroughly removes all dirt, sand, and external impurities, ensuring complete hygiene before moving on to further processing. After being thoroughly cleaned, the snails are placed on a conveyor belt leading to the processing area. On either side of the belt, skilled workers sit facing each other, handling the snails swiftly, yet with great care. Using small knives or specialized tools, they gently separate the tender meat from the shell without tearing or damaging the tissue. Once extracted, the snail meat is placed into separate trays in preparation for the next processing steps. On the conveyor belt, the snail meat is spread evenly to ensure a continuous and efficient workflow. The trays of snail meat are gradually emptied onto the system, allowing the meat to be evenly distributed. At this stage, workers use specialized scissors to remove any unwanted internal organs, keeping only the clean, high-quality meat. This step requires a high level of precision to ensure consistency in both quality and appearance of the final product. Next, the snail meat is rinsed again and undergoes a final screening stage to eliminate any remaining impurities. This step ensures that only pure, high-quality meat remains. After that, the snail meat is packed into small bags, each precisely weighed according to predetermined standard weights. These bags are gently compressed to tightly pack the meat and remove excess air, thereby extending the shelf life. Once compressed, the bags are heat-sealed and properly labeled. All finished bags are neatly arranged in cardboard boxes, ready to be distributed to the market or delivered to restaurants. Carefully processed snail meat is highly valued in the culinary world. In many restaurants, it is served as a premium delicacy, with prices ranging from 30 to 50 euros per serving. Thanks to its tender texture and delicate flavor, snail meat has become a prized culinary gem, beloved by diners around the globe. Meanwhile, the healthy snails are transferred to the mucus extraction area, one of the most delicate and valuable stages in the entire high-end biocosmetic production process. Using a traditional manual method, bags of snails are hung on specialized racks positioned just above gently oscillating metal rods. These rods continuously tap the bags, naturally stimulating the snails to secrete mucus. The milky white slime from thousands of snails slowly drips down into collection trays below, forming a thick, highly valuable liquid. On average, each snail can produce between 0.5 to 1 gram of mucus per cycle. This raw material is crucial and will later be refined for use in premium cosmetics and pharmaceuticals. In addition to the manual method, modern technology has introduced a more advanced extraction process that ensures no harm to the snails. At large-scale facilities, mature snails are placed into specialized machines. Workers spread the snails in a thin, even layer to ensure each one comes into direct contact with the device's surface. Then, the machine is sealed, and the automated extraction system is activated. The machine operates by simulating a natural environment, combining gentle vibrations and controlled air pressure to safely and naturally stimulate the snails to secrete mucus. After about 30 to 60 minutes, the slime begins to flow and is collected through a specialized piping system. The entire process can last from 2 to 3 hours, ensuring that the extracted mucus is of high quality, while the snails remain healthy and are able to continue developing normally. After extraction, the snails enter a deep rest state, similar to a temporary coma, during which they show no immediate response. The collected snail mucus is transferred to large tanks for purification and viscosity homogenization. Workers then pour the mucus into automated filling machines, ensuring that each jar contains an exact amount of product. Sterilized glass jars pass along the filling line and are filled with a smooth, thick cream. Once filled, the jars are immediately sealed to preserve the product's quality. All finished jars are neatly arranged on trays, awaiting a final inspection before being packed into cartons and made ready for delivery to consumers. Unlike many other cosmetic products, snail mucus-based skincare does not require a complex formulation. This is because the natural mucus already contains valuable active ingredients such as collagen, elastin, and glycolic acid. With just light purification and the addition of a few stabilizing agents, a high-quality and effective product can be created. After the extraction process, the snails are transferred to a recovery area where they can rest and regain their strength. Once fully recovered, they are released back into lush green gardens with fresh grass and natural vegetation. Here, the snails continue to grow in a safe and comfortable environment. After about 2 to 3 months, they will be ready for a new extraction cycle, without any long-term impact on their health. One of the most popular goat milk products is cheese. The cheese-making process begins with pasteurizing the milk. There are 2 common pasteurization methods: quick pasteurization and slow pasteurization. Among them, slow pasteurization is preferred for its ability to retain the milk's natural flavor. This method involves heating the milk to 63 to 65 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes to kill bacteria without destroying essential nutrients. After pasteurization, the milk can be rapidly cooled to maintain its freshness, natural flavor, and nutritional value. It is then transferred to a sterile packaging line, where it is poured into plastic bottles or cartons to ensure food safety. Throughout this process, every step takes place in a strictly controlled environment to prevent bacterial contamination. Once packaged, the milk is labeled with complete information about its origin, expiration date, and nutritional content before being stored in refrigerated warehouses. From there, it is transported under stable temperature conditions to stores, supermarkets, and distributors, ensuring the highest quality when it reaches consumers. If cheese is to be made, the milk undergoes further processing after pasteurization. Next, bacterial cultures, usually lactobacillus, are added to the milk. These bacteria convert lactose into lactic acid, causing the milk to curdle and develop its characteristic tangy flavor. Rennet, an enzyme from animal or plant sources, is then added to help the milk solidify into curds. This process typically takes 30 minutes to a few hours, depending on the type of cheese being produced. For certain types of blue-veined goat cheese, such as Blo de Chèvre or Monte Enambro, cheesemakers add a specific mold called Penicillium roqueforti at this stage. This mold grows throughout the aging process, creating the signature blue veins inside the cheese and developing a rich, slightly spicy flavor. Once the milk curdles, the curd is cut into smaller pieces using specialized tools. The size of the curds determines the final texture of the cheese. Smaller curds create firmer cheese, while larger curds result in softer cheese. The curds are then gently stirred to help separate the whey from the curds. This process usually takes 15 to 30 minutes. The whey is then drained and can be used for making other products like yogurt or butter. Once the curds reach the desired consistency, they are pressed into molds to create the final shape. For blue cheeses, the cheese is pierced with fine needles to allow air inside, encouraging the growth of Penicillium mold, which creates the distinctive blue veins and tangy flavor. The cheese is then soaked in a salt brine to enhance flavor and improve shelf life. After salting, the cheese is moved to an aging room with controlled temperature and humidity. Depending on the type of cheese, the aging process can last from a few days to several months or even years.